What is your favorite view in Cincinnati?
You know, it's interesting. There are some very pretty views. I run a lot of weekend foot races, and the ones that go along Columbia Parkway out, where you're looking at the river system of the Ohio going out and back, really is pretty. Another lovely view is from Mount Echo Park on the west side, looking back toward the city. Really pretty. If you go there at dawn, you'll realize how pretty this area is.
That's great. I live on Columbia Parkway.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Yeah.
Who is your Cincinnati hero? Dead or alive?
Cincinnati's fortunate to have a lot of great people and a lot of great leaders. Joe Pickler, former chairman of the board of the Kroger Company, is a remarkable businessman and Joe Pickler, the former, sorry, one more time.
No, you're good. Again, this will all be edited. So.
Yeah. Well, one of my heroes is Joe Pickler. He's the former chairman of the board of the Kroger Company and was a great business leader and is also a great philanthropist. Very involved in all kinds of things in Cincinnati, from the Symphony to Xavier University to the Cincinnati Zoo.
Great. Describe your perfect Saturday and what is your weekend routine?
Well, I usually go on a long run on the weekends. I usually go bike riding on the Little Miami Bike Trail on the weekends, unless it's wintertime. But almost always, my weekends involve my dog. We have a great dog named Sophie. And time outdoors. You know, in the springtime, bird watching is phenomenal here in the Ohio River Valley. But even in the wintertime, this is a great part of the world to hike in.
What kind of dog is Sophie?
Sophie was a rescue dog. She, I guess, had been held by a lady who was a hoarder. So when she first came, she was less than a year old, and she was very submissive. But she's really calmed down. She has a lot of dog friends, and she has a good time. She is a mid-sized dog, 40 pounds. She looks a little like a jackal from Africa, if you're familiar with a black-backed jackal, except that her tail curls up. She's an extremely cute dog.
What is your favorite Cincinnati park?
That is a good question. My favorite Cincinnati park is probably Mount Airy. I think it's the biggest of the Cincinnati parks. Great mountain bike trails, great running trails. There's a fun Dirt Days trail run there, and that'll knock you out. Yeah.
Good. This is a little bit of a little rapid quick fire. So, questions, one-word answers, more or less. What is your favorite place to go on a date?
Well, I've been married 35 years, but we do go on some dates, and the answer is the Loveland Bike Trail.
Favorite place to go with family?
Cincinnati Zoo. It sounds crazy, but I've been here all my adult life, and when my kids are in town, they still love to come to the zoo.
Favorite place to relax?
The Little Miami River. I live on the east side partly because of the river as well as the bike trail, and have a canoe, and I hit the river anytime I can.
Favorite place to see entertainment?
I'll tell you, actually, I think the best place to see entertainment is every Thursday night in April at the zoo. We have a thing called Tunes and Blooms with local bands, and it is a total gas. I always try to talk our marketing team into bringing in bands that I like, but they're like, you know, it's not for you. So we're bringing in bands that people in their 20s and 30s like.
Good. Next question, going on from those, what would you consider one of the hidden gems of Cincinnati? Take your time.
Well, I think there are a number of things that are hidden gems. They get some press, but not many people go. Honestly, the Cincinnati park system is phenomenal, and though a few are famous, like Alt Park and Eden Park, there are dozens. And then beyond that is the Hamilton County park system. A lot of times, people take for granted right where they live, and they think, well, I'm going to wait till I go on vacation, and then I'm going to go to the Rocky Mountains, or I'm going to go see the Redwoods, you know, I'm going to climb Mount Everest. When the truth is, even if people work hard, we usually have some spare time every week, and it's worth seeing beautiful places right here. So I think our parks, and certainly both those park districts, do a great job.
If you had a choice to go to any Cincinnati restaurant, where would you go? Still open or it could be closed now, it doesn't matter.
My favorite restaurant the entire time I've lived here is Myra's Dionysus, a funny vegetarian beans and rice restaurant on Calhoun Street, south of the university. Myra Griffin runs it. It's the same menu she had in 1977, the day they opened, and it might be the only actual healthy restaurant anywhere.
Wow. What's your specific favorite meal from there?
Well, what she is most famous for, and should be, is soup. Coffee Emporium sells her soup, for instance. I mean, it is phenomenal, in many varieties. But my personal favorite dish is hop and wan, which is brown rice, black beans, salsa. Unreal. It's food I'd be willing to feed an animal, and that's saying something.
Great. What would be the first 3 places you would take an out-of-town visitor?
I would take an out-of-town visitor, for sure, and this happens because I have out-of-town visitors. First to the Cincinnati Zoo, then to the Little Miami Bike Trail, and then canoeing on the Little Miami River. Those 3 are always on the list.
Great. If you did not live, I guess now, on the east side, where in Cincinnati would you live?
I think Clifton is a remarkable part of town. I go jogging through there most days, and it has a great community feel, real walkability, real livability. Of course, it's near the zoo, but Clifton's a neat old part of town. The trees have matured for over 100 years in most of those neighborhoods, so it really has a feel somewhat like a forest with houses in it. If you're there at dusk, you'll hear owls. You'll see a wide variety of things you wouldn't normally think you'd see right in the city. So Clifton and other older neighborhoods like that really have a ton of charm.
That's great. What is your favorite Cincinnati event or tradition or festival that you like to go to each year?
I'll tell you what, there's a lot of fun things, but the spirit of Paddle Fest that my crazy friend Brewster Rhodes organizes on the last Saturday of June is unbelievable. Thousands of canoes and kayaks launch at Coney Island, head down the river all the way downtown. You can't beat it. It's a phenomenon. I think our river is our least utilized community resource. I mean, it provides a beauty to this city that is just remarkable. From the hills you can celebrate it, but still right down on it you can't. There are people working to try to clean it up, and anybody who hasn't done Paddle Fest should come. If you think, wow, this city ought to get it together and be more community involved, you come to that event and they do it. In fact, it's all week long.
Cool. I never even knew about
I
that.
know.
Wow. So you probably are impressed with everything they're doing, like down by the river with the shoreline, restaurants and the banks. And it's pretty awesome.
The only thing they need to do to improve what's going on down on the river, which is terrific, you know, from the Friendship Park all the way down to the new Smale Park, is of course go 3 miles more and connect Bike Trail along the Rails and Trails old railway back to Lunken, and then you're there. Because you can ride it, as I do every year, from where it stops now in Newtown, all the way up past Dayton, all the way to Springfield. If you could connect from Lunken down to the Smale Park, people start commuting in this town.
I don't know what you think of the Cincinnati streetcar, but I think I had heard a statistic that when it used to go all the way to the zoo, that's when Cincinnati had its highest population, was during that time. And after that car went away is when it all started. I mean, multiple factors, but I never knew it went
Well,
up
the
to
zoo
the
is in this site because the streetcar used to stop right there. It came up here. This was going past Westchester to them in 1873. It came to that corner and then went back down to the river.
Okay, what is your favorite place to shop?
I'm not a real big shopper, but I'm glad to hear REI's coming to town.
I agree. I used to live in Seattle. That was the one thing I missed about it. They were everywhere. What is your favorite sports event or sports team?
My favorite sports event in town is the Flying Pig Marathon. Iris, who's the executive director, Bob Coughlin, who's the founder. I mean, I've run in a lot of races in a lot of towns, and let me tell you, that event has more fun, more community involvement, more entertainment, more enthusiasm, more water stops. Yeah, the Flying Pig's got it going on.
How would you promote Cincinnati to a young professional?
I would encourage people, particularly young professionals that have come from somewhere else, to get outside and have some fun. As a culture, Americans have become more of an indoor, more of a sedentary, more of an, excuse me, I've got important emails to answer kind of culture. People need to turn that off, get outside, and there is a ton to do. There are great places to do all sorts of sports, but certainly to bike, to hike, to canoe. When you go to a town like Seattle, you go to a town like Portland, it may be raining and still everybody goes outside. So we shouldn't just wait till the weather's beautiful in May and October, but people ought to go out anytime.
What is your favorite childhood, if applicable, but your favorite memory in Cincinnati, essentially?
Well, I have a lot of Cincinnati memories. Let's see here. Well, probably my favorite Cincinnati memories are, I have 3 daughters who grew up in Cincinnati, and I've been here at the zoo during their lifetime. So I have fond memories of them growing up at this zoo, whether it's little kids running into my office, or riding on the train like every 4-year-old kid always wants to do, or just seeing animals and experiencing them. So seeing my own kids grow up at the zoo.
Who is your mentor?
Well, the truth is I've been lucky over the years to have a lot of folks that have served as advisors and mentors. A key college professor that helped me grow up from being a knucklehead who didn't even understand how to take tests and helped me get in grad school. A graduate professor who helped shape my career. And then local business leaders that have played a big role. I can say this, I for sure have a career in zoos because of a meeting one time with a woman who's a biology professor at UC. She was the only other graduate from the graduate program I went to at the University of Michigan who lived in town. It was a long time ago. I looked at a little booklet, so I called her up and went to visit her. And she said, well, I don't know about any jobs, but they're building an education center at the zoo. You ought to go see what they're doing. Following that one thread led to an interview at the zoo and all sorts of this and that, and one thing led to the next. So you never know when being in the right place at the right time might happen when you don't expect it.